Hello, hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face, my card making space. A couple of cards using some of the new products from Simon Says Stamps and Everything Nice release. This is their November 2025 release, and it's a companion or a follow-up to the October release, which was Sugar and Spice. So Sugar and Spice and Everything Nice. So I will have a link to the new release in the description box below the video, along with links to all the supplies I used. My links are affiliate links. That just means that if you click on one of my links and end up placing an order, I do get a little kickback from that at no extra cost to you. That is what helps pay the bills, keeps the lights on, enables me to keep bringing out content. And yeah, I made a couple of simple trifold cards. And I combined some of the new products with some oldie but goodie favorites, and even show a way to like kind of conceal a gift card in there as well. It's kind of a last minute thing. And yeah, let's just get right into it. At the end of the video also, I'll have my playlist to my holiday card series that I'll just continue to add to as I get cards made. And this is also part of a blog hop. I will always have a link to my blog post in the description box below the video. Yeah, lots of inspiration, worth checking out, giveaways, etc. So, blog post will be linked in the description box below along with everything else. And let's get right into making these cards. So to make these trifold cards, I am using the Warm Mug Stencils and die set. And I'm starting with the Wafer die. And I've got panels of A2 size cardstock. This is Neenah Classic Crest 110 pound. And it's A2 size, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And honestly, if I was to redo this, I would probably have just cut larger pieces. I just grabbed these pre-cut pieces, but to have more along the bottom, like a wider flap, a little bit, make it a little easier to work with, which will make sense when we get to the end. Yeah, I would just have a longer piece. Like it could still be 4 1/4 wide, but I would go for like at least like 6 inches, just to give you that extra leeway along the bottom. Because then you can also, you can see just on this A2 how big this die and then stencil set's going to be. So anyway, I lined up the die on the cardstock and I've got it on my cutting mat here. And I'm hanging the bottom, where the bottom of the die is, I'm hanging it off the edge. So it is not touching the cutting mat. It doesn't matter what die cut machine you're using, just have it hanging off the edge. And then the top cutting plate also was not going past the bottom of the die, so that when I run it through my machine, it's only cutting everything but basically that bottom little bit. So I'm going to do this again. I'm just going to line up the die on the cardstock and letting that bottom portion hang off so that it's not cutting it fully. So did the same thing. Hung that off the edge of my cutting mat, put the top plate on that lined up with the magnetic mat and ran that through. So then I've got this partially die cut sort of image here. And then I'm just going to take my scissors and snip off these bits just like so. So really easy. And this is where, like I said, if this cardstock was longer, you'd have a little bit more along the bottom. This still worked, but again, hindsight. Hindsight's always a good thing. So now I've got these two just pieces of cardstock. This is where the stencils come into play. And it's just a 2 stencil set. It's got the pieces to create these little mitten hands holding like a mug of cocoa. And on the stencils, it does like label what each piece is. It's pretty self-explanatory. Like when I first looked at it, I was like, but then it makes sense. I honestly think that this is one of those types of things where you do need the wafer die, in my opinion. I would find it just easier to be able to line things up. Either that, or if you didn't have the die, and you just liked this like stencil set and this sort of image, to start with a larger piece of cardstock. I usually just, I've talked about this. I make A2 size cards all the time. That's my go-to. Because if you didn't line things up proper, like I said, this is almost like fully A2 sized. It's quite big. You could actually make a little shaped card just using this like stencil and die set. Anyway, everything lines up. It's all labeled, and then there is like the image like on the packaging too. So the first little bit was the, part of the mittens, and then this adds a little bit of detail to them. And I'm using all Salmon Pawsitively saturated inks. I'll have them all linked and listed in the supplies, but the first color I used was Jade, which mine is probably a little bit off because my blending brush had has a heavy amount of brighter greens in it, but it still works. Don't care. So yeah, I did Jade, and then this is Eucalyptus. And then I'm going to use Dolphin for the sleeves, basically. And all of this too, like while I was doing it, I was like, oh, if I had had the time, I would have dug through my stash. And if I'd found like a little sweater pattern, either a pattern stamp or a stencil, because you could layer that over these and create little patterns and whatnot on like the sleeves, on the mittens. That'd be really cute too. Super cute. So many ideas. But anyway, I used, Dolphin ink on the sleeves. And then I used a couple of the new shades with this release. 3 more ink colors were released, and they're fabulous. Very like coral, peachy coral colors. They kind of look orange on camera, but oh, they're pretty. I need to swatch these. I haven't even swatched them yet. This was my first time using them. So this first shade was Shell. And yeah, it dries back to like just the prettiest color. These colors make me happy. So I used, Shell and then Salmon and just kind of layered those together. It was kind of being a little bit redundant. It was kind of unnecessary, but I was like, oh, I like these colors. So blended those in this. Of course, this does like the mug itself. So I'm going to blend that on. And then we've got the layers to create your like drink of choice, which I just see it as like hot cocoa. So I'm going to blend the perimeter of the cup. And then for the like liquid, I start with Cookie. So just sort of a lighter like brown shade. And again, this was all just super simple. Super simple. Love it. And don't have to worry much, about getting a perfect blend. As I am a broken record, these inks smooth out as they dry. They blend, smooth out, dry back a little bit, so they soften a little bit as they dry. And it just makes everything like idiot proof, and I love that. I love it. So for the detail in this drink, I used cocoa. And I went pretty heavy handed with this, which technically fine. It's just something to keep in mind because I'm going to be using a paste over this. And when you apply multiple layers and really heavy blending of inks like this, dye-based, water-reactive inks, pastes, splatters, etc., that get applied on top are going to absorb that ink because there's layers, a ton of ink sitting there. Even if you let it fully dry, like I actually heat set these off camera because I had a feeling this was going to happen. I don't really care, but I'm just mentioning it because I know a lot of people are like, well, how do I keep my paste and my splatter keep it white, like crisp white? A lot of times you can't. Like you can sometimes try things like microglaze, etc. I don't bother with any of that. It's just something of note because there's a little stencil here at the bottom, bottom left corner of the stencil that does the marshmallows. And I'm going to use paste with that over these. But the paste, it goes on very white. It's going to absorb that cocoa shade of ink. Because like I said, I applied it very heavy. I was very intense with it. And even though I briefly heat set these images just to try and dry it faster, I don't think it mattered. There were so many layers of that ink on there. And it was layered on top of the other ink. Is what it is. So I just used a white paste. Super cute. But it's going to tint a bit as this fully dries because it's just absorbing that ink. But like I said, you could attempt to do something like microglaze or just use a different type of ink, like one that isn't water reactive. But honestly, it doesn't bother me. I'm only addressing it because I do get asked that a lot. Is what it is. So I applied the paste. sealed up my jar. I keep press and seal on all my jars of paste. Like I was saying, use your pastes, folks. Use them, don't collect them. And then I set those aside to dry. And then for my background, this is an oldie but goodie. This is the neatly knitted 3D embossing folder. Simon released this one a couple of years ago, something. It is still available. I'll have a link to it. And I am running that through with some of Simon's smoke gray cardstock. So running that through my Empress machine. So it's going to give it that knitted texture. Love it. Fabulous. Both sides of this pattern are just so good. So I embossed the cardstock and then I ended up trimming it down just slightly. It ended up being like 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, something like that. Just so that when I adhere this to my card base, because my card base is going to be a top folding A2 white note card, it'll have a little bit of a white frame around this gray background, which will kind of mimic the stenciled hands and mug image. So after I'd embossed it, I used the same Dolphin ink shade and just blended that around the perimeter of this. Again, just to give it that little extra something. This will soften again. It'll dry back a little bit. It'll soften. Won't be quite as intense as it looks while the ink is still wet. So blended all of that. And then, of course, I'm going to add a bit of splatter. You know, it's a wintry themed card. So I'm going to use the Simon's Positively Perfect opaque white splatter medium. This makes sure you have to stir it up. If it's been sitting for any length of time, the pigments start to settle. So the top, like however much of the liquid isn't actually white. So you need to stir it up really good. And then I just used my little fan brush and splattered these backgrounds. And then I also splattered the stenciled images as well. And I did these separately because we're making it a trifold card. So put those in there, added some splatter to these as well. And then for my main sentiment on the front of the card, I'm using the new CZ Design Tree Plate Greetings set. Love these. She's got several now. We've got, a little birthday set, a couple thank you sets. And they're just good little go-tos, and there's little coordinating wafer dies. So I just took the little happy holidays sentiment from it and I stamped it with some Nocturne ink onto just scraps of the same white cardstock. And then I'm going to die cut them with the coordinating wafer die. And then I'm also going to die cut like the remainders of those scraps with another layer so that I can adhere them together just to give them that little bit of dimension. So I'm going to get those adhered. And then, like I said, my card bases are top folding A2 white note cards. And on the insides of the cards, I'm stamping a sentiment from a very much oldie but goodie. This is the Christmas KITTIES stamp set. Pulled that out because it had the perfect sentiment. And I'm going to stamp that on the inside with that Nocturne ink. And it just says, wishing you the warmest holiday ever. And I was like, it was meant to be. It was meant to be. So I stamped that. And then I also stamped just the Happy Christmas sentiment from the Tree Plate Greeting set. And I stamped that with the shell ink. Love that color. I had to do it. I think I'm going to be obsessed with this color. It's so perfect. It's so pretty. I like coral shades. Anyway, stamped that on the inside and then adhered the embossed background to the card front. So got those adhered into place. And then to make this a trifold card, all you got to do is score the bottom area of the stenciled image. And this is where I was saying it would just be nicer if the cardstock had been longer originally. So I scored it like right along, where the stencil ends. So I've got about 1/4 inch of cardstock there. So scored it really, really well, and then just really burnished down those folds with my bone folder, and just got that real good. I'm a professional, y'all. So scored it at roughly 1/4 inch, folded it over really, really well. And then to adhere this, I'm just going to put some, it's like 1/8 inch terrific tape right on the back of those little flaps that I've created. You could use liquid glue as well. You would just have to make sure that no glue is oozing out because you don't want to like glue your card shut. So this is where something like the terrific tape or score tape, redline tape, etc. just comes in handy. So I put the tape just on that flap, and those little flaps are going to get adhered to the bottom back of the card. So I just have the card completely closed, line that up right along the bottom, fold over those flaps, and then press them into the back of the card. So on the very back of the card, like you see those two little flaps, but it's the back of the card. I ain't worrying about it. So repeated the process on the second card, press those down, and then it's just a cute little trifold. Now it does not sit completely flat because this is all like pretty heavyweight cardstock. If I wanted to get really finicky and really dig through my stash, I do have, I don't even know if they make them anymore, really, really thin self-adhesive magnets, the little tiny ones. Basic Gray used to make them, a million years ago. I thought about them and I was like, man, I don't even know where they are. I've got them in here somewhere, in the bottom of a bin somewhere. But I'm not concerned about it. You could also create like a little like tab maybe with some of the die cuts or something if it really bothered you that it's not like staying closed or staying flat, but I'm not concerned about it. It's cute. So as my final embellishment, I die cut some white glitter paper with another oldie but goodie that I've used multiple times this year alone is the Snowflake frame wafer dies, and I just used the Snowflake dies from it. Die cut some white glitter cardstock from Salmon, and then just adhered those all over the card. And then to include a gift card, one of the quickest and easiest ways is just to attach it with something like a micro glue dot. I can't speak. I had to dig through my stash. I haven't used this pack of glue dots. I'm not even kidding, for well over a decade. A bunch of them don't even work anymore. They have just basically disintegrated, but there was a couple I was able to pry, a little tiny glue dot off, and then I stick it on the back of the gift card, and it's tiny enough that it's not going to really tear anything, and then I can just stick it just like so, but it still is easy to remove. So that's one of the easiest ways to do it. There's other ways I've shown in past videos using different little notch dies and things like that, but little mini glue dot, just little tiny micro glue dot. So I will link to these. They are still on the market. I just never use them anymore. I forgot I had them. So there's my cute little trifold card with a fun little, gift card. So these were super fun. So like I mentioned, links to all the things will be in the description box below. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me, for thumbs upping and commenting. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you all very soon in the next video. Bye. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon supporters. For anyone that might be interested in joining my Patreon community and supporting me, the link to my Patreon is in the description box below the video. For everyone else, as always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't, I'd love to have you. And here's a couple other videos for you to check out in case you missed them. Bye!